What is going on, guys and girls? It's Ghost Robo, and today we are here with a pretty crazy Nintendo NX rumor. We're going to talk about it, decide whether it's real or fake, and give you some more tidbits as we lead up to the NX inevitable 2016 launch. I still hold true that this thing is coming out this year. I would bet a whole bunch of stuff on it. Every sign points towards a 2016 NX launch. The rumors continue to heat up, and we've got a really big one today. This purportedly is a picture of the NX controller bearing extreme resemblance to a patent back in December of 2015 that showed a controller from Nintendo that would have the screen on the controller. Now, this is sort of the hybrid merging of an iPhone or a modern-day smartphone with a Wiimote. That's kind of what it looks like and kind of how it all crazily comes together. This was leaked via the internet, of course. I believe the rumor originated from the website Dual Pixels, which has been a big NX, a source of NX rumors for quite some time now. And they claim that this is real. There's a note on the picture that says, "You will say wow," and it's dated 3/17/2016. Like I said, this patent came from December 2015, and it was a Nintendo patent for a game console controller. A lot of people initially freaked out that this would be another weird wacko move for Nintendo, placing a screen on the controller and then virtual buttons. You can see a B button in the bottom right corner and inevitably other buttons on the screen as well, with realistic physical thumbsticks and probably shoulder buttons, and it looks like a camera or something at the bottom. All sorts of weird ridiculousness going on in this controller. I'll tell you straight off the bat, I think this is 100% fake, and I'll explain why. But first, let me give you the reasons why this could be realistic and could be true. One, it's very close to the patent, although I think that serves as just as much a reason why it could be fake as it could be true, because multiple websites have reported that very rarely is the final product this close, this identical to the patent. But let's just believe for a second that the patent was what they wanted to do, and here it is. Now, Nintendo has said for a long time that the NX will be the fusion of their handheld and their home console platforms, and this would do that trick because it would convert the controller into said handheld. Now, there'd have to be some pretty beefy architecture in the controller in order for it to display this screen and play the games, but that has been done with the Wii U gamepad. So this would sort of be an evolution of the Wii U gamepad, albeit in a more traditional controller form and the most non-traditional and eclectic, eccentric usage of a screen on a controller that we have seen, because it's basically placing the screen over the entire face and form factor of the controller. Games would be kind of weird in this ovular form. I almost think that looks like some Mario Galaxy 3 screenshot or something. I know it's not probably what it is, but that's what it reminds me of, like Mario panning the sky for some pretty weird planet. But Nintendo wanting to merge those two, this would allow the home console to play the games on the screen, and then you would take the same controller you use at the home console on the go with you and play the games via that controller. Now, whether that was downloaded onto the controller, downloaded onto some sort of memory card, streamed directly to the controller from the home console, I'm not sure, but it would fall in line with them wanting to merge those two universes into one. Also, Nintendo is known to take weird risks. You look at the Wii with motion control, the Wii U with the gamepad screen, and now the NX with this very weird controller screen. It would fit sort of that trifecta of very risky, very unique, very innovative ideas from Nintendo. It also would put them sort of on the cutting edge of technology as something that is the big buzz today with VR and with the rumors of a PlayStation 4.5 and an Xbox 1.5. This would give them something totally new as opposed to feeling like they are just another +1 or a +0.5 or a +0.25 in an already existing generation of PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Plus, Nintendo has used touch before, and this would allow them to sort of continue that trend while also giving them a gateway to the mobile device spectrum. So now games that Nintendo makes with Dina for iPhone and games that Nintendo makes for the NX would kind of work together in another weird way, because you have a touchscreen. You could theoretically play the same games mobily or continue them on your controller, and maybe it would be a way to not even need that phone to play mobile games. It would be a real easy device for kids to use. As you can see, only 2 thumbsticks and some touchscreen buttons. Plus, with physical buttons, you could do majority of your main game actions with actual buttons, like triggers for shooting, control sticks for moving. It would just get weird when all of a sudden you're trying to jump, or you're trying to, very carefully maneuver around a Mario level, and you have to rely on touchscreen virtual buttons. That doesn't seem to be great, especially if you think of a lot of Nintendo's franchises. Mario and Zelda, it would be a little bit weird. Now, stuff like Mario Kart or Metroid Prime or Smash Brothers may work okay if you just use the sticks and the triggers, but again, how are you going to possibly do multiplayer or anything of substance on this controller? Now, the other theory would be that this controller is not the handheld and it's just the controller, and similar to the Wii U, only some elements of the game will be on the controller. So maybe you have the map down on your controller faceplate, maybe you have your home screen or your inventory, but given the picture that we see here, the supposed leak, and given the patent picture, they're talking way more like the entire game on the screen. These are not simple images of boxes or of menus or of maps. They are game worlds. And so that sort of leads me into why I think this thing is totally fake. One, I think it would be ridiculous to assume and imagine that high-powered, bigger games, which is what Nintendo is gunning for by introducing a new piece of hardware, would fit on this controller. I also think that going from a Game Boy to a Game Boy Color to a Game Boy Advance to a Game Boy SP to a DS and a 3DS and a new 3DS, that this would be a regression and sort of a backward step and a weird progression for their handheld. The handheld has been the handhold for Nintendo for many years now, providing majority of the sales and a lot of their profits. So to walk that back to a single screen, weird controller, non-foldable thing doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and I don't know that would appeal to the current owners of the 3DS and the 2DS and the new 3DS. The other thing is that this thing seems ripe for all sorts of scratches and issues and whatnot. Now, you could say the same thing about the Wii U gamepad, but remember, your fingers are not always on the screen. With the gamepad, they are mostly on the buttons, and you have full physical buttons, so you're not constantly pushing on the screen or trying to find the buttons on the screen or having your fingers on the screen or your palms on the screen sweat. Just even real estate space, if you have big hands, you're not going to be able to see most of the game on this controller. But for me, the bigger points are, one, like I mentioned, the pen and the picture are way too close. Two, I don't think Nintendo takes a risk like this. I think that they are willing to be innovative and creative on the connectivity aspect of this new console, but I don't think they do something this ballsy and this risky. They're looking to get third-party support, and a lot of the other rumors support the fact that they are going more in a normal, quote-unquote, direction with this console, more of a hardcore gamer mentality with the design of this NX system, and I think this would just flip them even further in the wrong direction than Wii U did. All of a sudden, you've got a controller that makes nearly any third-party game impossible to port, and there's some recent rumors that I'll discuss in an upcoming video about big third-party games coming to NX, ones that may surprise the heck out of you, and so I can't see them making requests of companies like Microsoft and Sony and Bungie and EA and Ubisoft to design things that work on this controller screen. I don't think that virtual buttons is the way to go. I think the fact that Nintendo teamed with Dina for mobile games shows that they want a separate division working on that touchscreen mobile game type stuff, and their hardcore main studios and teams working on NX console development. And I think that they would rather have Mario Galaxy 3 and The Legend of Zelda take shape as more traditional games than something this kooky and kind of weird. I don't think that they would be so silly to make the same mistake that they made at the Wii U again and assume that people want something eclectic out of their $250, $350 console. Now, I'm all for innovation. I think Nintendo is very creative and does some cool things, but I think this is one time where we can assuredly believe that Nintendo will go more mainstream with their development, especially given a lot of the rumors that line up pegging the NX as a very powerful system in line or above the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Now, people have done some little ran some tests, quote unquote, on the image to see if it's has a lot of Photoshop effects, and it doesn't. There are a lot of things that kind of could make it legit, but all in all, the origin of the image on the screen is found to be an Unreal Engine 4 tech demo, apparently. And so that, again, makes me question, all right, this isn't like a Nintendo game on the screen. And I don't know. The design of the controller being that ovular, it doesn't seem very ergonomic. It seems kind of weird. The thumbsticks look incredibly shallow. Obviously, it's connected to a dev kit up top, and that's why there's that black square. I'm not even sure what all the different sensors on the bottom are. It looks like one could be a camera, maybe some motion sensors of sorts. But I really don't think this is real. And it seems like the NeoGAF thread, which has now topped 100 pages, has a little bit of both. Some people believe that it's real, some people believe that it's fake, and there's been some interesting mock-ups that have shown Metroid Prime on it, and that looks really cool. And now I'm kind of getting behind it. If there were actually some supports on the back to make this more of a traditional controller in line with the GameCube controller, having the traditional pegs on the side for you to balance yourself. But again, I don't think Nintendo risks everything with virtual buttons and such a strange controller with small screen real estate and the inability to port third-party games with ease. Some may say that this could be Nintendo's last big chance at a home console after the Wii, worked very well as a mainstream fad and then fell off sharply, and the Wii U was kind of an all-in-all disaster, albeit with some very awesome and ridiculously fun games. I think Nintendo plays it a little safer and goes toward a market and with a design philosophy that guarantees sales. I just can't see them taking this huge of a risk and being super, super weird. Could it be? Yes. But also, what's the likelihood that this NX controller that has been under such secrecy leaks by a Reddit poster in such strange circumstances and with such, such not confusion, but people seem to be very skeptical. And typically when something like this happens, you have another source that will affirm the rumor, and that has not happened yet. But regardless, I don't think NX stands for ridiculously crazy screen controller. I think it stands more for the connectivity between the handheld and the console. And I still am undecided on whether I think Nintendo wants to sell a separate handheld and a separate console. I think that may still be in the cards. Some people think that, they could be bundling both together and sort of merging the markets. But even though connectivity would merge the systems, I don't know if they want to merge the markets. I still debate if these systems will be able to exist and be sold separately, in the sense that you could, buy a handheld NX and buy a handheld or buy a console NX, and that they could work together. The games could work simultaneously, but they all could work separate. There's been some overlays with the Unreal Engine 4 image showing how it was just cut directly into the screen. And I think that, again, it proves that, it isn't really real. It looks like, while a very well done fake, I don't think it is an actual fake. I don't think it's actual leak. I think it is an actual fake, is what I'm trying to say here. Looking at these images, it's pretty clear that this is a great mock-up, but I think that's all it is. A very, very well done and realistic mock-up in a time when everyone is desperate for NX info and really wants to know what's going on and what this system will be. I still think we're in the dark on that, and I still think this is for sure getting a full reveal at or before E3 with a fall 2016, holiday 2016 launch. I don't think Nintendo can afford to go into holiday 2016 with a 3DS and a Wii U that have very thin and sparse lineups and not a whole lot of momentum behind them. People also are saying that the analog sticks in this image are not the correct type of analog stick. They wouldn't even work. It's more of a Steam controller type analog stick that looks more like a nub than an actual stick, and there's no chance Nintendo puts their entire console on a nub-based controller. We saw how well that worked for the goofy nub on the new 3DS. That's basically a pencil eraser. And I know that they would not do that for their much pricier and much more prideful home console. But I'm curious what you guys think. If this was in fact the reality, would you be interested in it? Would you play it? Do you think it looks like total crap or something that could bring interesting innovation to the game design space? If it's a fake, what do you hope to see out of the controller? What do you hope to see out of the NX? And are you pumped for its inevitable reveal, which will be soon? I'm super excited for the NX, super excited to see where Nintendo goes, and I think they are on to something great with this system. Launching with the lineup that I predict and picking up with a system mid-generation that actually brings the heat from a tech standpoint will be a good space for Nintendo to be in. And I'll be back with another video talking about some of those third-party partnerships that they are rumored from more reliable sources to be involved with that could really bring validity and assurance and confidence back to the Nintendo side of this console battle. Guys and girls, that's going to do it for today. Hope you enjoyed this video and a look at what could or probably won't be the NX controller, but a very, very interesting discussion and thinking about what the controller could be and if Nintendo will go back to screen technology baked into their controller device or leave that in the past and revert to something more normal. I like to think they will probably revert to something more normal or something along the lines of a 3DS / Wii U gamepad, but nothing more weird, strange, quote, creative than that. Again, it's up for debate whether the handheld will be the controller or whether the NX console will have a separate controller. I initially thought that the NX would have the handheld be the controller, but now I'm leaning more towards a separate controller and the handheld just being a complementary piece to the console. Anyways, lots more to discuss, lots more to see. It will be crazy awesome once this is finally revealed. But until that time, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Love you all. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Until next time, drink so much. We'll see you all later.